Alright, what is up, gamers? What is good? It is a lovely Sunday morning. There's a big Melee tournament on. Going to a movie later this afternoon, and we got a whole new chapter of One Piece to read. It really doesn't get much better than that. Very intriguing title to this one, Those Whose Death Brings Celebration. This, of course, could be something said from Imu's perspective, referring to Luffy and perhaps this lineage of the Will of D, that when they die, it is cause for celebration on the side of the bad guys because they've delayed the uprising of this ancient kingdom by another generation or whatever. It could be Scopper Gaban referring to the great evils in this world that once, snuffed out, mean a lot more people can live at peace and freedom and whatever. It's kind of interesting too because, One Piece, one of the more famous moments of the whole series, Dr. Hiruluk, or whatever his name was, Chopper's mentor, his speech on death. When does a man die? Is it, when he dies, said in various different ways, when he eats a poisonous mushroom, when he is shot, when he is stabbed, whatever. No man dies when he is forgotten. I think here this idea of death bringing celebration is kind of ironic in that context, because if you are celebrating the death of someone, that means you have in fact remembered them and they haven't really died. That could also be like an intended connection where the celebration of death is actually like a good thing, a heroic death that is revered. In which case, it's basically saying because they are remembered, they are not truly dead. Which could point to my private belief, and by private I mean repeatedly expressed in this video, but I mean that I haven't seen anyone else share, which is that we are still going to get an intervention from the astral lair of Elbaf. I don't really think that as much anymore now that Scopper Gaban ran in and protected Luffy, if not just for a moment. A moment might be all they need. We know that Imu is working with a time limit and will need to get warped back to Marijois at some point. So if that can happen and Luffy can, stay alive, that is one resolution to this whole thing. But I kind of think, like, something more needs to be gained on the side of the good guys. Because we've already had Egghead, which was a total trouncing. They ran away with the island in flames. I feel like Elbaf, there needs to be some sort of victory. But we'll see, very cute cover page. Shanks grilling fish, bunch of cats, Luffy getting slapped with a fish. You can see the windmill in the background, so presumably this is around the events of the very first chapter. Very nostalgic. Oh. Had a very acidic burp there. Okay. So we return to this moment, Gaban blocking the blow of Imu. Notably, Luffy also gets saved here, kind of. The tree that he was pinned to chopped up effortlessly by Gaban in an instant, allowing somebody else to rush in and save him, perhaps. The swords, through Imu's power, I think, retracted from Luffy's body. We hear him go oof, which means he's alive. And Og, which means he's still alive. So I don't know if Imu is withdrawing the swords to supplement his attack. You're a hideous sight, like nothing of this mortal world. Who art thou? One who knows the world. It's kind of interesting. It's alluding to, of course, the fact that Scopper has seen the One Piece knows the true nature of the world. On your feet, Straw Hat Luffy. I'm disappointed in you. Aren't you ashamed at getting saved by an injured old man like me? Wait for him. Emperor of the Sea. Don't get full of yourself. You want to die here? No, I'm not going to die. You are a dead man walking. It's pathetic. What happens next after you're dead? I can't protect my friend's country. That's right. And what happens to the crew you brought all this way? Their lives are in danger. He lost sight of some stuff here, I think. Because in the past, when Luffy has been pushed to the brink like this, I think the instance that comes to mind most readily is when he's fighting against Rob Lucci. And what makes him get back up on his feet is Usopp provoking him. Usopp provoking Lucci, that is. And he realizes that Lucci is just gonna go over there and massacre, like, the rest of his crew in an instant. And that his failure in battle wasn't just, you know, him losing to Lucci, but it was unleashing Lucci on the rest of his crew. So this acute recognition that his crew's lives are in danger, I think is something that maybe he was lacking. I think he just kind of got lost in the sauce, fighting this primordial enemy of his, you know? On this sea, the higher you rise, the more enemies you have. The King of the Pirates is a title for those whose death brings celebration, because everyone else wants to sit in that seat. Ah, that's true. Roger's death was indeed celebrated. It was the most celebrated death we've seen of this entire series. People were cheering and applauding throughout the streets of Logtown. People around the world saw it as a demon being expelled. Other pirates were happy because the throne was empty. Common citizens were happy because it felt like the age of pirates was ending. Little did they know. The world government obviously was happy because he was one of the most wanted criminals out there. That is synonymous. The king of the pirates and someone whose death brings celebration. Very good, very good. If you're imagining you can be the king of pirates with nothing but peace and sunshine and rainbows, save us all the trouble and go home. You're not cut out for this. Holy! Dress the fuck down. And of course, the fact that Scopper is doing all of this and Emu is just standing there indignantly, like, are you not paying attention to me? Chucks Luffy out of the way. This is kind of interesting. This feels very paralleled to at Saburi Archipelago, where again Luffy is absolutely humbled by enemies far stronger than him. There, Raleigh, of course, very parallel to Scopper, shows up and saves his ass. He doesn't, in so many words, chew Luffy out and say, you are not ready for this. But in his actions, aligned with Kuma and this Kuma's secret plan to send them to safety, saying you need to get a lot stronger. Now, is there going to be a time skip after this? I am doubtful. I mean, that would be fucking crazy. But we're already pretty far into this. I doubt we're gonna time skip our way out of Elbaf. But something needs to happen. And I don't think it's just, like I keep saying, I don't think we're gonna see like Gear 6, right? I think whatever advances Luffy makes is gonna be in the category of grit. There's gonna be a mentality change. There's gonna be some sort of recognition of the true threat that awaits him. That unlocks an additional layer of metal or something. But I don't know if we're going to see just like another power-up. I don't know. Okay. Scopper goes in. The Mantis Axe style. Does he really remind you so much of Joy Boy? Who art thou? Dost thou recognize me? Ah, another sword pulled from the Omen. This one looks like it is like from Wano or something, maybe. Toshiro. Honebame Toshiro. What do you know? The words of Joy Boy. But don't get it twisted. We're not blindly obedient to some man from the past we never met before. We just want to see our captain's dream brought to light. You know what that means? It means I'm right. We're not blindly obedient to some man from the past we never met before. Because Joy Boy put the drain to drain the world's oceans at Laugh-Tale. They showed up. They saw the instructions from Joy Boy. Pop this out and you'll drain the waters away again. And they went, no, I don't think it's the time to do that. And Roger's dream, alluded to here, is that someone else will come along, someone who's not kind of at death's door, and usher in this new era that can be brought forth by draining the oceans. That's what this little interjection means here. That's why he says we're not blindly obedient to some man from the past we've never met before. I know what's up. I know what's up. And here we see Emu coughing up blood. Again, the time limit. I think we're going to go to a time limit draw of sorts. Luffy frantically telling his body to heal. Just a moment is all I need. Who is this captain? The King of Pirates, Gol D. Roger. This disgusts me. Why is the D on the King of Pirates spread not that name? And that's, of course, when they started censoring his name as Gold Roger. The very man who turned this into the era of piracy. And why would the remnants of his crew protect Straw Hat Luffy? So you're going out of your way to eliminate him. Is that not proof enough? Even if you see him as a threat, someone will be born and eventually surpass us. We were just too early. We were too early to drain the oceans. Somebody needs to take down the threat of the world government before this happens. Because right now the oceans are protecting people from the tyrannical force of the world government to some extent. You know, obviously they're still pretty tyrannical and have enslaved great populaces. But until the king of the world is defeated, we should not give him total control over this domain. We need the protection of these disparate islands in the sea. But someday someone will be born and surpass us and take care of business, and then they can drain the oceans away. And then it has something to do with the big egg on the ship. Look, you can see it once more on the Oro Jackson. Every time he draws it, he draws this big polka dot egg in the back. What is it? What is it for? I have no clue. Even I, the preeminent One Piece mind, the only person in the world that has figured out what the One Piece is, have no idea what the hell that egg is. It could be something kind of silly. I don't know. I think it might be like an ancient, truly ancient species. Because, you know, we know that there's like the super ancient lab on Elbaf. There was like a technological world that existed before the Void Century, before all that stuff. And my theory, one of my many theories, is that the Denden Mushi is like an evolved species that came from that time. That like back then they just had phones, like they had just invented phones proper. And it was some sort of like biological hybrid technology, and then after millennia it evolved into the Denden Mushi that we know and love today. So I think there's like various other kind of remnants of that era, and maybe this is just like an egg from that era or something. Then you're telling us that this boy is the very man we've all been waiting for. And here we see a spread. Scopper, Shanks, Raleigh, Odin, Crocus, Whitebeard. Indeed, we have been foolish. Perhaps we have mistaken numerous mere coincidences for destiny. Let us end that now. I like this Emu not actually saying, this is for sure our guy. This is for sure Joy Boy 2. This is going to be the guy that goes back and drains the oceans and fulfills Joy Boy's promise to once again reconnect the world. He's just like, well, it might be. Maybe it's a coincidence. But either way, let's just kill him. Because if it's a coincidence or if it's real, either way, we should just kill him. Sorry about this one, Jewel Tree Adam. My intent wasn't to eat you. Here we go. The Gate of God. And of course, we know Scopper was called the Mountain Eater because he chopped down a whole forest on a mountain during a battle. He does not want to chop up the Jewel Tree Atom, the hardest tree in the world, and yet he does effortlessly here. Well, not effortlessly, it took a lot of effort, but you know, with one slash. Still the Pirate King's crew, even decrepit. Thou art so determined to believe. Okay. Wild attacks flying out from both of them. A tempest of slashes. Like you aren't. Yeah, I like this. I like this. Flipping it back on Emu. If you're just saying, well, we might as well kill him. Yeah, might as well. I don't know. Maybe it's the one that will inherit the will of Joy Boy. Maybe not. Whatever. Let's just kill him either way. If you're acting like that, then why are you going to such lengths to kill him? Why you probably should have pieced out by now. You're obviously getting pushed to the brink. These massive logs falling to the underworld. Okay. Unclear exactly how this is all shaking out, but Scobber has lost an arm. Kind of like Shanks. Lost an arm. Protecting Luffy. So it looks like Scopper is lost. But Emu also getting pushed to the brink. May have, in that attack, had to beat a hasty retreat. The battle could be over now. Maybe also evidence of that is that for the first time this chapter, we actually cut away from the battle. Which I appreciate, because I think a lot of other chapters lately have been marred a bit by jumping over to other plot points that are tonally very, very different. And thus diminishing a bit of the impact of these really, really significant moments. So here we were locked into this battle right up until the end, which to me suggests this is very much the end. It sure looks like Scopper can't fight anymore. Luffy trying to rally himself, but who knows. And Emu also probably pushed to the limit here. So yeah, maybe no astral layer intervention. It's alright. I'm still very, very excited and satisfied with this chapter. And I really do think that this is, I think, more and more and more, the line, we're not blindly obedient to some man from the past we've never met before. To me, I'm like, yeah. It's so obvious, I think, indisputably, that the One Piece is something that offers you some sort of choice. Like, do it or not. And the Rogers crew chose not to do it. And maybe Luffy will do it when he gets there. That to me, it can't be anything else. And I still think it doesn't make any sense that it's like, what? Like a weapon? Like, what kind of weapon would that be? And if it's just, like, history, then what is the choice? To, like, spread history or not? Like, what? Do you really think the end of One Piece is gonna be, like, newspaper headline, expose? The world government was bad. Here's what happened in the Void Century. They were really bad. No. And furthermore, do you really think, like, they would beat the world government and then that would happen? Or do you think they'll go get the One Piece, print the news story and then fight the world government. This idea that the One Piece is like the history or the lore, it makes no sense to me. Moreover, why would Roger laugh at that? It's obviously something like very, very tragic. It's probably the story of Joy Boy choosing to flood the world as a last ditch measure because he could not defeat Emu and the Narcent world government, right? I think that's the big tragedy. That's why Zoe is wandering the ocean saying that it's experiencing the guilt of Joy Boy, that it is suffering for, you know, that, and then the promise made to the blah 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 blah, the having to bury away Fishman Island and everything, and the promise left by Joy Boy there and everything. It's all that kind of tragedy. It's stuff that they're gonna figure out before they get there. You know, and yeah, it's like, what other big choice could there be? It's not like, will I unleash some ancient weapon? We know where the ancient weapons are for the most part. Ha ha ha. I don't know. I'm becoming more and more convinced. Are you becoming more convinced? Am I right?
I was not paying attention at all.
That's okay.
What do you think's happening?
I think this chapter, more than many others, but the evidence in my mind just keeps piling up. This line where Scobber says, "We're not blindly obedient to some man from the past we've never met before," is, to me, the biggest proof yet that I'm right about what the One Piece is.
Oh.
Because it's like, they got to Laugh Tale. The big plug is there. The plug says, "Rip this plug out and drain the oceans away again." And they're like, "No, it's not time yet." And that's what that line means. Because they realized it's too early.
Yeah, well then, like 2 pages later or something.
They think,
You're just too early, brother.
It's too early. Someday someone will be born and surpass us. What is that referring to? What is that referring to? Draining the oceans. I see it all. Okay. Alright. See you in 14 days. No chapter next week.
Man, no chapter for anything next week.
Oh, it's a week off?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, see everybody. See all my friends then.